Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox On Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just, fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus the Twins. That's where it all starts. Because it all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lamson got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
White Sox fans, welcome in. It is the Sox On Tap post-game show, and this episode is called Hi Mom, because Eloy came through tonight. I'm Jonnie and NWI. I've got NWI Steve alongside me here discussing a White Sox 5-3 winner. Steve, how exhilarating was that?
Hey, Johnny. You know what? There has been a lot of hoopla over the last 2 days or so regarding the return of Eloy Jimenez, and boy, yesterday, a little bit anxious, kind of getting the rust off a little bit. But boy, did he deliver tonight in all facets. All I got to say is Eloy.
Yeah, Steve, like you'd mentioned, all facets. Obviously, the one that we're all jacked up, psyched up about is the massive home run late in this game to give the White Sox, the go-ahead and eventually the runs to lock this thing down. But there's much more to his game that we will get in, discuss all of that and all elements all across the rest of the game. But before we do, per usual, listeners, make sure you are visiting ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. You can find us on social media at Sox On Tap and at OnTap Sportsnet. This show is brought to you by Grandstand, so make sure you're visiting Grandstand whenever you need White Sox gear. You can find them right by the ballpark, 35th and Walls. You can also shop online, grandstandsox.com, and visit them on social media at Grandstand Sox. So, Steve, as we're coming into this one tonight, Dylan Cease on the bump for our White Sox here. Brad Keller opposite him for the Royals. A little bit of a sluggish start to this one, and it did not feel good for the majority of it, I would say.
You are 100% right, Johnny. I know, obviously, in our text thread that we have with the group, I was getting quite perturbed, to say the least, by the simple fact that this offense was doing essentially nothing for 6 innings aside from the Gavin Sheets home run. And I was getting mildly, to say the least, irritated by the fact that this team just kept beating the ball into the fucking ground. I don't know how many times I have to say it or whom else I need to say it to, but it's been said and widely speculated that ball go far, team go far. And what happened here when this team finally started to hit the ball into the air a little bit, or maybe specifically Eloy decided to hit the ball in the air, we get a much more positive outcome. So kind of went from agony to ecstasy all there in an instant.
Yeah, absolutely. And taking advantage of some, underestimating, I think, by Mike Matheny, especially in the 8th inning. So we'll get into the scenarios that led into that. But let's start with Dylan Cease here on the bump tonight. He goes 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. What did you see from Cease? Obviously didn't get some help from Vaughn on a play that probably should have been made early in the early going of this one. But overall, Cease's outing, let's evaluate it here.
That second inning there, kind of one thing we've seen from Dylan Cease a lot throughout the course of this season. Command just kind of gets away from him. He gives up that leadoff walk to Jorge Soler to start the inning on 4 really non-competitive pitches. Andrew Benintendi base hit, and then the Brian Dozier sac fly. Should have really been out of the inning after only giving up 1 run. Had that Andrew Vaughn error not taken place, like you mentioned there, but he just didn't seem like his stuff was particularly crisp in the first 2 innings. I know he had the 1-2-3 inning in the first. It just nothing was really jumping off the page from that perspective. But then, I'd say around the third inning or so, we really started to see that it became motherfucking hammer time at that point there, and he really started dropping that thing in there. And from there on out, for the remainder of this start here, he was really like a different guy, and he showed those flashes of potential that we're all so excited about when we see Dylan Cease take the mound on a consistent basis. Kind of similar to what we saw in that start against the Houston Astros, that first game after the All-Star break there, when he got into a groove there, it was just fucking hammer after hammer after hammer. And I know the Royals got, that third run on him later in the game there, but he really did pitch pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Steve. And you know me, I love hammer time. I love a good curveball, and obviously, like you said, kind of worked into a spot where he could settle down with that thing and really command it. And looked, can up some guys on that thing too as the game wore on here. Obviously, you'd mentioned the early runs there, bottom of the fourth. They're able to get another one there with Benintendi one out double, O'Hearn single there. But that would be the extent of the damage here, and it might have felt worse at that time just because the White Sox weren't able to get anything together outside of a Sheets home run at this point. So it definitely felt a little down in the dumps. But as we move on into the top of the eighth here, so Reynaldo, first of all, before we get there, Reynaldo Lopez, nothing outstanding. Got a little bit lucky with a botched hit and run call by Matheny, one of his many mistakes that we'll touch on here tonight. But either way, it's okay. He got through the rest of that inning after that. I think he kind of got a little jump there. And we go to the White Sox half of the eighth inning, and that's where Larry Garcia, batting from the right side, hammers one, actually a productive ball on the ground because it got by, and he hit it hard down the line. So that leads off with the double. Engel gets hit by a pitch, probably lucky for him because he was down in that count. Pinch hitting for Collins there in that spot, though. They advance to second and third on a wild pitch. Timmy grounds out. This one, it feels like it's going to be another deflating moment here because Timmy, yes, he hit it hard, but like you just griped on, hit it right into the ground, right at third baseman there, so Larry not able to advance, out at first there. And then we come into the situation here. Moncada, RBI ground out, so that at least gets one home, but once again, pounding the ball into the ground, and you got two outs here in this spot. They change pitchers, and Abreu, intentional walk, and that is where Eloy's spot comes up in the order here, Steve. And what does he do? Was it second pitch? The at-bat launches a mammoth 3-run home run out to left center, 109.3 miles an hour off the bat, 33-degree on the launch angle, 459 feet. This is the shit that we missed all year, Steve. Let's go.
Listen, Stone was talking about this and the fact that this may be the only time that someone is intentionally walked in front of Eloy Jimenez here. I'm struggling to think of a time that happened last year when he was going right, and obviously he's still trying to kind of get his feet under him here a little bit, playing in only a second game of the season so far. But this is a guy that I honestly thought coming into the season was going to break the White Sox single season record and hit 50 home runs and be the first guy in franchise history to ever do that. Obviously, that would be a little bit of a tall order now to do that coming back on July 26th. But the fact remains that this is a guy that has explosive power in that bat. And when he is right, when he is seeing the ball well, and when he's got his legs fully under him, this is a guy that has easy power and can turn a game around on one swing of the bat. And we saw that tonight. And that's what this team has been missing for 100 games. Coming into this series here, and he's back now, and this adds another dynamic element to this lineup that they sorely need.
Easy power. I love that term that you just threw out there, Steve. And it really is. It looks so effortless for him, but the ball goes really far when he makes solid contact with it. And obviously we saw that on full display tonight. This was very, very obviously opportunistic in the situation that they were in. 2 outs here, last chance at a rally, so to say, with where you were in the order there, and then what was coming up after that as you're leading into the last at-bat that you would have there. So obviously big spot, clutch spot for Eloy. Doing it in just a second game too, because we saw yesterday, like you said, a little anxious, little aggressive, little, looked like the zone was not all eyed up for him yet yesterday, and that's expected. And I honestly expected that to last for most of this series, at least. Coming back, after missing that much time, and pitchers that have been throwing all year to this point. I thought it would take longer, but hey, you know what? I will, Mike Matheny, thank you for putting it on a silver platter for Eloy. And like I said, Eloy just a gamer here, brings that dynamic, that element, a game-changing ability like that. And I love Benetti's description of this, Steve. He had said, such a cure-all, such a Band-Aid, and he used various synonyms like that. And it really is. And it just goes back to the point of what we said here, and many other people said it, is we don't own it exclusively, but ball go far, team go far, and you can't emphasize it enough.
Hashtag facts only. This is a facts only broadcast. Okay. We just got to be honest about this here. Eloy really does bring an element to this team, an energy that it's palpable, and you can just see it. When he's in the dugout with these guys, and you just see the energy that they have goofing around, and this is a pretty loose group overall. And it has been for the entirety of the season, despite, I remember all these narratives saying that wasn't going to be the case this year. And I guess that those have been proven wrong. And now you add him into this mix, just being the goofy ass that he is, if we're just being honest with ourselves here. You love seeing this. And I think ultimately he's going to get this thing going, and you're going to see Jose Abreu, you're going to see Yoan Moncada getting better pitches to hit now because of his presence in this lineup. And it's just going to make this team that much more dynamic offensively. We've been seeing them here in the month of July starting to hit the ball out of the ballpark a little bit more. This has been really the big bugaboo with this team all season long, being 14th in the American League in home runs and somehow being in first place by 9 games. If you would have told me that at the start of the season, I would have said, you're out of your fucking mind. There's no way that that's going to happen with this team playing in this ballpark here. But they found a way to scratch and claw. And now you put that big bat in the middle of this order here, start hitting the ball out of the park. The American League is going to be in some trouble here.
Yeah, and I like what you talked about with Eloy being, an influence on this team, both in the clubhouse, and you can tell energy, personality is just infectious. It's happy-go-lucky. Keeps guys around him loose. They like being around him. He likes being around them. No doubt about that. So no doubt about clubhouse chemistry there. And then when you go further, I am a firm believer, even though you can't really quantify it, I'm a firm believer in offense is contagious as well. And power hitting can be contagious in that regard as well. I mean, obviously, there are technical things that guys need to fix. In Jose Abreu, Yoan Moncada needs to start hitting the ball harder on fly balls and, hitting higher rate of fly balls. I get that. There's all that. But when you have other guys around you doing it, it just feels like there's a momentum that kind of carries through the team. And it's real in sports. And you can't, like I said, you can't extremely quantify it, and I think Eloy is a great jump starter and igniter for this type of element that will be added to the White Sox clubhouse here. So let's move on through the rest of this game here, Steve, because after the White Sox take that 5-3 lead in the top of the 8th, we go to Michael Kopech, and he just mows guys down. 3 straight swinging strikeouts in the 8th inning, and then Liam Hendriks gets a 1-2-3 ninth to lock this son of a bitch down. 5-3 White Sox winner here. Let's talk Kopech for a second here. Dude, this guy is dominating. It's scary having to face him.
100%. We saw a couple of less than stellar outings from him in Milwaukee over the weekend there, and we saw the vintage Michael Kopech that we have seen for almost the entirety of the 2021 season here, just challenging guys with that high fastball up in the zone. Just no chance out there. The Kansas City Royals, they had no chance tonight. He literally was saying, I'm going to take this fastball, I'm going to shove it up your fucking ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. Really kind of taking a page out of Lance Lynn's book.
Yes.
And again, I know we've talked about this a lot, about that mentality and the mindset. And Kopech is a guy that absolutely has that mindset about, I'm better than you, and I know it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And he showed it tonight.
Yeah, and I love the spot in the order in which he got all these outs here. Whit Merrifield, first one. Carlos Santana, the second one. Salvador Perez to end the inning. That is huge. That's a big spot. You talk about high leverage spot. That's it there, because if the Royals are getting back in the game, they're doing it with heart of the order type of guys right there for them. So I love seeing that from Michael Kopech, and like you said, a little bit of a bounce back of sorts after not having his complete dominant top stuff over the weekend in Milwaukee. So Liam Hendriks, obviously nothing new here. He did have a little bit of a fly out to the track in right field for the second out of that inning, but other than that, no problem there. He mops this thing up, does what he does, records yet another save here for the White Sox. And Steve, let's just talk overall meaningfulness of this game. It mattered so much because if I talked about it with Tony, it felt kind of groggy. It felt like we were in a wall. Even with the win on Sunday, still kind of felt kind of slow, like we were stuck in molasses of sorts. You get that feeling too? And this feels like you were ripped out of it and, kind of catapulted out of it more so.
100%. I have used the term with a couple people that I've talked to over the last few days that they've been in this malaise since the All-Star break. You think about it, they're one Gavin Sheets swing away from losing 3 out of 4 to Minnesota at home. And then you go to Milwaukee, you drop 2 out of 3 there. So things were not looking particularly great. Kind of looked like they were just going through the motions a little bit. And you got this 4-game series here against a Royals team that, yeah, they had won 5 in a row coming into the series yesterday. But this is a team you absolutely should just kick in the nuts and take advantage of while they're on your schedule still here. So you lose that game yesterday when you just do nothing offensively, and it kind of looks like you said earlier, almost like a continuation of last night for about 7 innings there. And you lose this one tonight, all of a sudden now you drop the first 2 of the series, you're maybe starting to get in your head a little bit. Now we've lost 5 out of 6 and we're in this funk. How are we going to get out of it? That one swing of the bat now by Eloy can be a huge momentum builder for this team. I know a lot of people like to talk about momentum, and myself being a little bit more on the analytical side, but also understanding and having played on teams before, momentum, it is real. This thing does exist. You can't quantify it, but the fact of the matter is that when you are playing well, when you win games, when you win an emotional game like this, when you were down and then you find a way to scratch and claw and get a victory, it can absolutely be a catapult to you going on a run and ripping off a bunch of wins. And that can absolutely happen now because of what we saw tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And I kind of like go back to time and place sort of thing here. Last year, it was very nice. I remember a 4-game set out in Kansas City, and we whipped the shit out of them 4 games in a row, no doubt about it, every single time in a row. Come out here, I want to do the same thing, but obviously that was not the same vibe coming in from this weekend after Milwaukee. Like I said, kind of stuck in the mud, felt like a little bit. But hey, you know what? It's a 4-game series that you have here, so you throw away that first one. That's already done in the books. You already had this kind of emotional win, so to say, tonight, and then use that, propel it, and get yourself a 3-game sweep to close this thing out. I think that can be a big sort of momentum builder here for the team in the coming days here. So let's talk about what we will have up next year, and it will be one Lucas Giolito on the mound for the White Sox on Wednesday evening, 7:10 p.m. Central Time start out in KC. He'll be facing Chris Bubic of the Royals here. So what are we expecting from this matchup, Steve?
I expect Lucas Giolito to go out there and show everybody why he believes he is the ace of this team. Again, we're facing a Kansas City Royals team that is in 4th place right now. You got to go out there and you got to shove. Plain and simple. I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear any talk about who the catcher is or who's not catching in this particular game. You got a weak sister that you're facing. You got to go out there and you got to pound them. And you got to pound that strike zone right from pitch number 1. Go at these guys. They do not have enough firepower in that lineup to be able to beat you. So you need to go out there and show everybody why you are the ace that you portend to be. And you got to now be the guy to carry the momentum forward here. You got this one tonight. Let's build off this, get 2 in a row, and then you turn it over to the big boy, or I'm sorry, that
Carlos Rodon.
Yeah,
right?
B Rodon then for the Thursday game here. So you like your chances there. You get these 2 guys going these next 2 nights. You have to feel good about this. But again, it all starts with Lucas Giolito. Go out there, establish fastball command early, up in the zone, go right at these guys, throw up some zeros. Let's get a dub.
Yeah, Steve, just one thing about, guys that you feel really confident about going in. And obviously in 2019, when you're going into a start, when it's Lucas Giolito for the White Sox, we know what kind of a season he had there. You feel really good. Even if you're on a skid, you're like, all right, this is our stopper. Like, it's getting done here. Well, this White Sox rotation has a different dynamic because there are multiple arms that can get the job done across, the whole width of it. We've seen it from different guys, every single one of these guys at different various points throughout the year, just depending on the series timing of it, what their kind of trends recently are there. But like you'd said, I think this is a big opportunity for Lucas Giolito to really kind of continue that and then, cement himself as that, okay, next time he comes out on the mound, we're feeling like his next start, it's no drop off from any Carlos Rodon start. It's no drop off from a Lance Lynn start. You're going to get that high energy. You're going to get that, FU mentality. I'm going to go and get you out. And I have good enough pitches, good enough stuff to be able to strike you out. So I would love to see that and have this be kind of a, springboard into the second half of the season and into the playoffs when it will really matter most for the White Sox here. So, and the nicest thing about this is if you get multiple guys going on that sort of thing, we saw it plenty of times from Carlos Rodon so far. We've seen the energy come from Lance Lynn and obviously some stellar outings there. We've had some nice outings from Dallas Keuchel against, the Tampa Bay Rays, against the Blue Jays at various times. Obviously some struggles intermixed within there, but you can get that from Lucas Giolito. It become more of a rock, kind of momentum builder type of starter. You're getting that almost every single time you're sending a guy out to the mound. So I love it. I love the mentality, the approach there. So hopefully he can take care of business. And I'd like to see a lot of strikeouts, Steve. That's the other thing too. We've had some guys that kind of pitch contact here. Too much contact for my liking. I like missing bats. I like the fastball changeup combo. Let's make them look silly tomorrow. Yeah.
Agree. Go out there, establish that fastball up in the zone. That's really Lucas Giolito's bread and butter. He's been mixing in that slider a little bit more here over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 starts. So trying to create a nice counterbalance there by adding a tertiary pitch to that fastball changeup mix that he's so pretty well known for at this juncture. But you're absolutely right. And this is a Royals team that does have some swing and miss in the lineup. They do have some patient guys mixed in there with Carlos Santana, Whit Merrifield, but you got guys like Jorge Soler, Ryan O'Hearn, and a few other guys that will absolutely swing and miss. So I want Lucas Giolito to go out there and capitalize on that aggressiveness and on the poor bat to ball skills. And like you said, let's go out there and let's get, give me 9-10 Ks out there over 7 innings.
Yeah, the double-digit strikeouts are cool and tough. So we love seeing that here. So obviously, also we're not going to go too much into this. Someone had asked about trade talks here. If you want a little more trade talk, our Sunday Funday show from 2 nights ago, we did discuss a little bit of White Sox trade deadline stuff. But as for the Royals, never know. We never know. Like you said, maybe not too much to sell off, but keep an eye on Whit Merrifield. He could be a name that at least comes up during the day tomorrow. So you never know if he's getting late scratch from a lineup. Something might be on the move there. So just keep an eye on it for that because the White Sox could obviously be buying. I wouldn't imagine Merrifield there, but the Royals, if they were going to do anything, would be selling at this juncture. So keep an eye on that with the trade deadline coming up on Friday. So that about wraps it up for this. Steve, let's get a pick to click for tomorrow, though, because Tony and I forgot to do ours on the show last night. So not forgetting this time, you lead it off.
All right, so we got Bubic on the mound, so we got a lefty. I'm gonna go with Mr. Adam Engel, the Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, the absolute dump truck, Adam Engel. Absolutely love Adam Engel. Dude, I had nothing but respect for him ever since he came back from Charlotte back in the middle of 2019. That guy made physical changes to his swing, to his approach, and he is hitting for much more power, much more consistently, and the swing actually looks nice now. So
I think he's going to use that. I think he's going to use that thickness he's got in that lower half there tomorrow, and I feel like he's probably going to put one in the fountain tomorrow.
Hey, he just saw Eloy do it. What I say about offense, power, being contagious. They see one guy do it. Hey, if you saw a guy hit a home run, you want to be the next guy to do it. It's fucking awesome. So, all right, I love it. That's a great pick there. As we're looking at Bubic here, I am going to go with one Mr. Jose Abreu, right-handed bat here. I don't believe I've picked Pito maybe once after the All-Star break here. So it's been a little while since I went with the White Sox de facto captain here. Safe bet always to be in the lineup. So I will go with Pito, whether he's DHing or first base. I would like that too. Let's make it a double splash out in the fountain there. So any final thoughts from this one? And then I will get our housekeeping in and wrap this thing up, Steve.
That's just a big win right there. And as we talked about earlier, love to see this be a springboard and a momentum builder. Let's get hot. All right. Finish off these last two. Cleveland's coming in this weekend. You got a chance to drive a stake through their fucking hearts. Let's go.
I love that, Steve. I think you need to be giving them pep talks in there. So, I mean, you're doing it here on Sox on Tap. So I hope all our listeners are feeling it. I know our panelists are feeling it. We know how you feel about AL Central rivals here. And obviously playing one right now, you got another one even closer to you coming up this weekend. I agree. Build some momentum going into that because you can't count out the Cleveland Indians being competitive in a game because their pitching is just too good. I don't care how banged up they are at the moment. There are guys that can turn it on and throw very well against you and shut you down. So get those bats rolling, get them feeling good. And obviously we'll have Eloy facing those guys for the first time this year when we come back home on Friday. I'd love that, though. It starts here in Kansas City, winning 2 more, taking this series. Obviously, it's not decided yet here. But like I said, making that kind of like splitting it up, throw away the first game, make this a 3-game sweep going into the weekend. I think we'll be good here. Starts tomorrow night. So, all right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for dropping your comments here in the live stream. Please continue to do so in the future. We'll try to answer questions and read your comments as much as we possibly can here while staying to the topics that we need to cover on this. So thank you once again. Make sure you're visiting ontapsportsnet.com for all Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. You can find all of our White Sox articles there, as well as these podcasts in the tab at the very top of that webpage. Make sure you can follow us on social media at Sox on Tap and at OnTap Sportsnet. This show is also brought to you by Grandstand. Visit them right by the ballpark, 35th and Wallace, for all White Sox and Chicago sports merchandising needs. And visit them online, grandstandsox.com. Social media, Grandstand Sox, where they drop new releases, especially cool new hats coming out as of late. So, Steve, that wraps it up. I've only got a couple words left. White Sox forever.
White Sox for life.